Yeah. We're live. Oh,
Oh, we're
man.
live. All right.
There we
Hey.
are.
We're live. We had a false start there, folks. So I'll just go through it again.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Tesla Motors Club podcast. My name is Lewis.
I'm Doug.
And I'm Mike.
All right. Today's episode is a very special episode. It's late and it's on a Thursday. It's not normally when we do it because today is the Robo Taxi reveal event. Whatever that means. We're going to find out. We have a lot of speculation. It's a very special episode. It's number 69, 420. No, it's not. It's just episode 69. Yeah, let's start it now. Let's do it.
Well, that's so funny how basically we went talking for like 15 minutes on our own and we weren't
Yes.
actually live.
Yep. Sorry about that, folks.
That's
I
funny.
realized we weren't actually live. It was like, wait a minute.
Oh, they did.
Our
Uh,
normal
It's just
producer
us.
that clicks some of those buttons,
Is me.
you know.
That normal producer.
Okay,
is me,
that's fair. It's Doug.
But you know, it's later and I'm a little bit, out of it. So there you go. Yep. Oopsie.
I've got my booze.
I was going to say, have
He's
another
not even
old
drinking
fashioned.
yet, and you know.
I'm drinking some green tea from 7-Eleven in Japan. So it's a really amazing.
He's like
green
way too
tea.
healthy. Green tea.
And spinach. I'm drinking an old fashioned with makers.
If I get a break, I might take off and go grab some whiskey in a little bit. And yeah, Makers is my preferred. It's like,
Oh man.
it's not too pricey is the main thing. If
Right,
you're going to be mixing it with stuff. Then,
Exactly. I use makers if I'm doing old fashions. If I'm drinking
yeah.
it straight, I'm an 18 Sherry Oak Macallan man.
18 or something.
Oh fuck yeah, man! Love it. I got plenty of that. Sorry.
So, Tesla tends to be late with these events.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of
It's supposed to be starting right now.
Yeah, I kind of doubt it. There's we have there's a potential live stream, but it's not even, not even.
We will be
active yet.
showing you that live stream when it
Yeah,
comes on here.
I keep refreshing in
So.
the hopes that it'll start.
Yeah. So once the live stream starts, we'll have it played, and we'll shut up when they're saying important things, and
Whoop.
we'll get our nice commentary.
Do you see
All
something?
right. We
Starting
have
to do
it.
something.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Let me.
We're patching it in there.
We have an
Let me try
interesting
to tune
graphic,
us in.
kind of swirling on the screen now.
Let's see.
I see the
No
fangirls
audio.
are ready.
Yeah, I have them ready.
Ready
I have
for.
the fangirls ready.
Yeah. No audio yet.
No audio yet.
What if-
Oh yeah.
What if folks in the chat? Yeah, exactly. Mystery Science Theater. That's right.
Yeah.
So, what are folks' predictions in the chat? We got any? I see a bunch of folks out there. We appreciate you tuning in live with us. Let us know what your thoughts, what you think they're going to say today. I know I have our thoughts of what we expect to see. There's
There's our fangirls.
yeah, there's our fangirls in the corner. Elon is late. Oh man, yeah.
Yeah. It's a tradition
Elon-
at this point. He's late for
Okay.
all of it.
Let's be very clear. Elon is not late. We're just all early, right?
Yeah,
the
but-
world
Oh,
is on
is that what it
Elon
is?
That's
time.
the thing is Elon lives in the future. He's
So that's
already
true.
there. He's already there.
He's had robo taxis for 10 years now.
In fact, that's what they're selling though. Even the name of this event, like, tune into the future. I forget what it said. It said something like that. So it's an ideal that's being sold here. So
For sure. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
let's be fair. It's very exciting, right? Like, no matter what they announce, there's going to be a lot of hype and press around self-driving, which I imagine most of us are interested in as a technology, be it Tesla or anyone else. We want to see that technology move forward. We want to see advancements. Many of us probably also want to see Tesla succeed and do well. I'm sure there's, haters out there, but it'll be interesting to see what they do because it's been a very competitive space. I think what Doug you were talking about in our pre-show where we weren't live. It's been almost 10 years, right, of them saying next year, like, in like a year,
Yeah.
in another
Well,
year.
yeah. I mean, if so originally when the Model 3 came out, people leased it. They couldn't buy it because they were supposed to make robotaxis out of the Model 3s when they were turned in. That's
Right.
been a long time coming.
You can buy them now though when you lease them.
No.
Oh, you still can't.
Still cannot.
Okay. Wow. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm a pleb. I don't keep up on the Model 3 stuff because I have a Model S
The
Plaid.
Model 3, Model Y.
Model
You
S
can lease
Plaid.
it. They'll happily take your money for a lease, but you still can't buy it.
Yeah. They're they're really nice cars. I had a friend of mine recently was trying to he wanted to get a Tesla, and his wife, something with the family, they ended up buying a GM, and so he's been driving this other EV from a GM or from GM, and he has been messaging me lately going, man, I should have bought the Tesla, because he did a road trip, and the GM allows you to use Tesla superchargers, and so he did the whole thing. He got to experience Electrify America. He got to experience Tesla superchargers, and he's like,
no
my God,
comparison.
man, I watched these Teslas just pull up at the supercharging station, and they just zip right in, and they just plug it in, and they just leave, and then they come back, and they're gone, and I'm sitting here like a jerk with my adapter dongle, plug into plug, and I got to get the app and do the thing, and it takes forever because he didn't realize that the charge rate's limited based on the voltage of the battery packs and all this other stuff.
Because a lot of those things only drive at only can charge at
that sounds like a Bolt talking, yeah.
It was. I'm trying to remember which one it is. I'll have to look. I'll have to go through our messages. But yeah, it's not a Bolt for sure, but it's limited to
So you got the Equinox, you've got the Blazer.
I think it's like a small SUV.
That would be the Equinox.
It might be the Equinox. And I think it's limited. It's limited to 150 kilowatt hour charging rate or something, or whatever it is. No, it's 150 volts or something something. No, that doesn't make sense.
It's got to be 400 volts.
Yeah, no, that's the problem. It's not 400 volts. It's their car is 280 volts or 320 volts or something like that. It's got a lower voltage, so the rate that it can charge is much lower or something. It was lower. Yeah. It was very weird. Anyway, because we were doing the math on it, and I'm like, that doesn't sound right. Anyway, but he's even today. So this is in these recent months, he's like, man, I should have just bought a damn Tesla. He's like, the next one will be a Tesla. So this car is technically his wife's, and he's like, all right, when I replace my car, I'm getting a Tesla. It's like, yeah, they're still great cars. They're but I don't know.
There are some limits on the adapters when you go to the supercharger, but I didn't pay that much attention because my Bolt only does 50 kilowatts. I mean, my Y can do 195, whereas the Bolt can do 50 on a really good day, but it averages
for about 3 minutes.
Yeah. So I saw the limitations and I just kind of ignored them because it really doesn't apply to the Bolt.
Yeah. So what do you think? We got some folks in the chat saying that we're going to hear about unsupervised FSD. I mean, that'd be cool. I feel like already it's not unsupervised yet for sure.
Well,
but they've done a lot of reduction in nags lately.
So yesterday I got an update. I went to 2024.32.10.
Okay.
And I promptly drove it to San Diego and back. And my first reaction was lots of nags now if I don't have my sunglasses on. I can't use the nav system at all without the FSD complaining that I'm not paying attention. I've also noticed it was a lot more lane change happy than it had been for the last month. And the final thing that kind of kicked it for me was they had eased up on the resistance to change lanes. If you wanted to disengage, you could move the wheel, and sometimes the car would fight you and you'd kind of have to overcorrect. And then they got rid of that to a large degree. Well, that's back. So
you said this was 2024 32.8?
10.
Okay. That just popped up on my phone literally right now. So I'm going to upgrade to that.
I got it yesterday.
Okay. I haven't left my house in 3 days, so I might have gotten it yesterday and I didn't.
And you haven't showered in 3 weeks?
No. I'm freshly showered and shaved. I'm not an animal. I just don't go outside.
So Tom J says big
sunlight,
reveal. Tom J says big reveal would be a couple guys dressed in Robotaxi costumes dancing on stage. There's precedent for that.
It could be
for the first time we see something.
Oh, Maybe it'll be like a Transformer. They'll do like a full-on Optimus, right? It'll be a guy in a suit that folds down like the Halloween costumes. That would be sick. It wouldn't be a Robotaxi though.
That would be embarrassing. So let's talk about the topic for a bit since we're waiting for this and this is what people want to talk about. I mean, what are we actually going to see here? Realistically, this is not yet a solved problem, right? They're doing this demo, and that's we expect to see a demo, right? We expect to see what
A
the thing
video?
looks like.
Well, it is on the back lot of a studio. I mean, they should be able to
It's
drive
very
and show
controlled
us.
environment, very controlled environment. So, I don't really know. Like, we already saw a roadster, we already saw a semi. None of those things are actually in real production yet. The semi is still in a kind of a
Limited production.
limited experimental production. The Cyber truck took like 4 or 5 years or so, 5 years, I guess. So and it still seemed kind of half baked on delivery.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
but the thing is that Elon has but essentially staked the whole company on this concept. Like all the major valuation of Tesla is based on this self-driving.
They've got
actually
Optimus.
working. Okay, yeah, sure, but
I'm saying he's moved the goal. I agree with you. Full self-driving Robotaxi was like the goalpost for 10 years, and now they kind of have the second goalpost ready to go. Coming up with the robots,
Well,
but they haven't delivered on the first one yet. So I agree with you.
Lewis, answer me this. If they come out and say, hey, here's our new cyber taxi, not the Robotaxi, the cyber taxi, the next generation, you think those goalposts have been shoved out another 4 years?
I mean, we have predictions that we made 2 years ago, almost over a year ago, where we said when we think FSD will really be FSD. What people think.
I think we said not before the end of the decade or something.
Yeah, like we're like 2030 before it's commonplace, or before it's released wide. Now, I hope to be proven wrong. It'd be great if it comes out sooner. I do not personally expect Robotaxi to be revealed right now. They're going to reveal something. But similar to how the Cybertruck took multiple years and the Semi took multiple years, and they've revealed the Roadster, and where's that? They're not even building that yet. I think we're a few years away, minimum.
I think there's a difference between a reveal like they did with the Roadster, where they kind of had it sitting on the stage, versus being in the back lot of a movie studio where they should be able to drive something and demo it.
Okay, so first of all, now we're getting into moon landing conspiracy territory, right? We're on a film studio and we're talking about we're going to demo a technology that we don't have yet.
Come on, you don't trust Elon?
The Roadster was demoed at the Tesla Semi event back in 2017, and it rolled out.
It was handmade,
and they gave people rides in it, so they can certainly do that.
That was a one of one.
Yes.
Well, I mean, what are we seeing tonight? It'll be something.
Well, we'll probably be lucky if we see a one of one. It may be like a half a one of one.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking it's not just going to be a video. I'm thinking they will show a vehicle.
No, it's not just going to be a video.
I mean, you never know.
There will be a video.
There will be a vehicle.
But
will we see it actually driving and doing its thing, or will we see a video of it driving and doing its thing?
But is the Robotaxi going to be towing a Porsche?
It's going to be Robotaxi towing a Porsche.
Okay, so Crimson Decade says the only way they will get the Robotaxi sooner is if they have LiDAR. FSD gets stupid in rain. Honestly,
and fog.
Honestly, LiDAR gets stupid in rain also.
Yeah, I was going to say, LiDAR doesn't work in rain.
Yeah, you would need a longer wavelength,
yes.
like maybe millimeter wave technology, something that wouldn't get scattered by the average size of fog or raindrops for that. And we have to slow down in fog, so or rain. I think cameras can work, and I think we've been seeing that more and more. And also companies that I've been expecting. Okay, let's get some mass produced sort of linear array LiDAR type stuff going. I haven't really seen anything that promising, and actually the companies that do this kind of stuff haven't been doing that well. Probably because they're banking on this stuff happening faster than it's
A
turned
lot
out
of
to
money
be.
has got into this, and the return on investment has not existed for anyone yet. We've had companies go under over it. We've had companies just close, decide we're not pursuing this anymore. So we might have a bunch of some new folks to the show that don't normally watch. Just to give some context, if you do have questions, so all of us are experts in our own fields. We don't. None of us work for Tesla. None of us do this stuff. Doug is our in-house resident physicist, right? He's done a lot of, post-grad physics, done a lot of, research and working with lasers and all kinds of stuff. I have a physics background in undergrad and computer science, and I've worked. I've done a lot of machine learning, managed data science teams, done image processing, neural nets, all that kind of stuff. So while I don't work in the space of self-driving, I do have a lot of experience of doing machine learning and data science in similar problems or orthogonally related problems.
Orthogonally? Oh, I like that.
Mike is our gearhead. He knows a lot about cars. He knows a lot about the mechanics, and he has an IT and computer background, so he's familiar with technology. But he has a lot. He owns multiple EVs and spends a lot of time with them and charging and all that kind of stuff. So we are happy to answer any questions if you have questions on some of the technology. But again, none of us work for Tesla. We may know folks that work there, and we may talk to them about things, but nothing officially can be said. We can't trust anything we say to be more truthful about it than what Tesla's saying as far as what Tesla's doing internally. But we give you a different perspective, right? We all love Teslas. We have our cars, but we care more about, as Mike, I think, or as Doug usually likes to say, we care more about the consumer. Tesla Motors Club, the website, is more about the consumer. We care about your rights, what you're getting, and protecting you for
Right.
your investment.
What's been promised versus
What's been promised.
delivered. Yep.
Exactly. So if you're new to the show, welcome. And if you're not familiar with us, feel free to check out TeslaMotorsClub.com. It's TMC's been around since before most people have ever heard of Tesla the company.
2006.
For sure. 2006. That's how long
go.
TMC's been around as a community. For folks that are passionate and interested in self-driving and EVs and all related, technology. But yeah, so anyway, I've seen a lot of comments in chat about, the time not starting yet. Tesla's been late for like every event for the past, I don't know, forever. So that's normal. Let's see. Amir Bayaria said, sorry if I say your name wrong. Why not use cameras and bring back LiDAR? It's a great question. We've talked about it in previous episodes. I think all of us kind of agree that LiDAR is a valuable, useful technology that can help. It also, we all agree, is not necessary. So while I think it's possible, and Doug was just saying he thinks it's possible to do full self-driving without LiDAR, which obviously humans don't have LiDAR. It is possible. LiDAR would probably make it easier. And just from anecdotal evidence, right, of the competing companies out there that are on the roads today, driving at least at level 4. I wouldn't say level 5, but certainly level 3, level 4 that is out there. Waymo and stuff that Cruise is doing, whatever. They all seem to have LiDAR. So companies that claim to be further ahead in geofenced restricted areas tend to be using that technology. But Tesla is kind of the leader right now in not having high res mapping, not having geofenced restrictions, and they don't have LiDAR, right?
Like Elon said, back way back when, some years ago, he said, the people using LiDAR, it's like a local minima or something, right? And they're going to be stuck on that local minima trying to use LiDAR. I don't necessarily agree or disagree. I guess for me, you can almost do everything that you do with LiDAR with cameras, assuming you have enough cameras and you have the processing. Like if you have the main thing that LiDAR gives you is an actual measurement, a point cloud of where things are in space, but it can't necessarily identify what those things are, right? So the camera is much better at identifying what those things are. Now, if you have multiple cameras, you can use things like parallax. But basically, if you have an image like your eyes, right? That's how 3D vision
stereoscopic,
works.
right?
If you have two images of the same thing, but from a different angle, you can basically calculate how far something is away. And we do it intuitively,
Right.
but a camera can do that, with a computer attached to it can do that roughly exactly, like close to what it actually is. The other thing is there's motion parallax if the car is moving. And now you know how fast you're going and you know how your perspective on an object has changed in time. You can see how far away that thing is. Now, the one thing that I would say that is missing is, that LiDAR could give to you, but you don't necessarily need, is it's some kind of active sensor. Cameras are passive. They're just receiving the light that's coming in. And if, I've complained about this error I get where I'm driving down a dark country road and the side camera isn't seeing anything because there's no illumination out the side of the car. And FSD complains that, a camera is occluded. Well, it's not occluded. It's just there's nothing to see,
nothing
right?
there, yeah.
So if it had some kind of active, like, it could just have like a infrared LED
Infrared
that doesn't bother
LEDs,
normal
yeah.
people. So some kind of active thing of sending out some light so you get something back. And we've seen issues where, and I think this was before Advanced Smart Summon, and we talked about it last time we did a show, where a car is doing summon and it just scraped to the car that was parked next to it. Now, if it was a little smarter, if it had still ultrasonic sensors, that's an active sensor sending out a signal and it's receiving something back. And I don't think ultrasonic sensors are that expensive, it would be nice to have them, just not strictly necessary. I think it's nice to have sensors that are of a different modality,
Yes.
like now astronomy, they have, they can look at gravitational waves now. So it's like,
Yes.
it's like you can also look at photons and you can look at, gravity waves and then you can learn more about the environment. In this case, the environment of the universe. But if you're just talking about a car right there, it'd be nice. Okay, sonar, you have, this different modality or some kind of active sensor. So that's my main thing about it. And Tesla could do that. Yeah. If
And
they
to be
had more
fair,
illumination.
technically brought radar back, right? So
Mhm.
in a way, if you have cameras and you have radar, you're kind of covering what LiDAR would give you somewhat. LiDAR is probably, better than radar in some cases and worse than radar in
And
other cases.
radar should work through fog and such like that. I mean, it's
Exactly.
so
So it's not like Tesla's only working with cameras, right? They did that whole thing for a little while where they removed the radar. They brought it back because all of the things that Doug just touched on, they do. The engineers at Tesla are very smart. Elon is very smart. So the difference is Elon is also a salesperson for the public nature of the company and marketing and everything else. So Elon will say things to help that at times, knowing, in my opinion, that it's not fully the truth, but it's intended to be the truth, or like, close to the truth. But the engineers know what they're doing, and so they are working on solving these problems. It is possible we might see lidar, right? It's unlikely, in my perspective, that they will add lidar because of things that Elon has said in the past about it, but it is technically possible. Um, but yeah, anyway, so yeah, we'll see. And again, love the chat. Thanks for keeping the questions and comments going.
Yep.
Um, yeah, could Tesla have gotten this far with FSD with ultrasonic sensors and lidar in this time frame that they have? Asked by Tesla Fund. Um, I mean, it depends, right? Like, there is something to be said about only working with cameras, getting to focus all your engineers on that problem, and
Yep.
being able to not have distractions. There's also the problem of, if I have different types of sensors and they disagree, right? I get input from the cameras and I get input from lidar and I get input from radar, and they don't all agree. Who do I trust? Right? If you have three different types of sensors, okay, you can say maybe two agree. But if you only have two, it starts getting tricky. So it's possible that they've made more progress because they only worked with cameras.
Well,
But that's not necessarily true, as we've seen, like companies like Waymo, they've technically gotten further ahead with level 3, level 4 driving, again in geofenced, by having these additional sensors. But they might hit the limit much earlier where they won't be able to go, level 4 everywhere as fast as Tesla. We don't know.
It's interesting historically. If you remember back in the days of the DARPA Grand Challenge,
Mhm.
and
Those were fun, by the way. Those were
that
really
was
cool.
fun. And so Stanford, the first year they had any vehicles finish, Stanford won with they had a Volkswagen, and I was at Stanford at the time because I would see it driving around campus, which was kind of cool. And the way they won was that they used lidar with cameras. So they had lidar looking at the road in front of them, and they could tell that, okay, this bit it seems flatter. And then they had an overlay with cameras, and then so they could process actually the camera image much faster. So it was lidar informing what the camera image meant, you know. So basically using lidar to find like what's the drivable road part, and then the camera saying, okay, this is the road part, and it would have to sort of reconfirm that, when it went through shadows and stuff like that. So it's just sort of
Makes a
funny
lot of
to have that.
sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. So yeah, I mean, I agree with you, Lewis. I think mainly they wanted to focus on just doing cameras. Just basically make it a smaller problem instead of like, okay, how do we reconcile? But the other thing is, and the main, probably only real reason they didn't do lidar is because it costs money. It's expensive,
Yes.
and these are consumer cars that they put them on. They put all the hardware, whether or not you paid for FSD or not, on every car, and
Just in
then
case.
they charged you tons of money to use it when it didn't deliver what it was supposed to do. So, like I always say, it's like, man, what a great thing to do if you can get away with it, which is to charge your customers for basically being experimental subjects, and basically allowing them to pay for being developers. So
I mean, and that goes along with their latest, one of their recent announcements, right? Tesla's now offering 0% financing for
if
if you're gonna buy FSD up front
yeah,
and putting
exactly.
a certain percentage down on the car and all those other, there's all these restrictions, but buying FSD is one of the restrictions that you have to do. But so
Which
they're clearly motivated. They
which
want you to
again
buy that package.
which again proves that FSD, like when you buy it, that's basically free money for them, right? Uh, it is, right? Because
They got an
whatever.
extra 12 grand out of me.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. I mean, it's not like it's if you actually use it, it's costing them anymore, right? It's not costing them anymore, but yet they're getting so much more money from it. And again, as was admitted at the last annual shareholders meeting, when a perfectly reasonable question was asked, how about allowing us to transfer FSD forever? I mean, we paid for it and we still haven't quite gotten what we wanted delivered. Like it should be basically like having a software license that I bought, and I should be able to transfer that license. And Elon said, we got to make money somehow.
Yeah. I don't think that was intentional, but I think it's the truth.
It's definitely what he said.
Yeah, it's definitely what he said.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
They still haven't started the stream. What are we? 26 minutes behind.
Yeah, someone joked like in terms of how late they are. It said half hour to an hour, and I think that is about right.
He's coming up on a half hour.
I'm gonna need a second drink. I almost done with this one, and I've been trying to go slow.
Yeah. Well, Tom J's got a comment about we'll have robotaxis on the road by the end of the year, Musk 2019, soon after I purchased my Model 3P. Since then, they've removed radar and USS to cut costs. Going back to what you said, Lewis, about why they cut these out, the more I've thought about it since they did this, I don't think it was cost. I think it was having multiple data streams and the amount of effort it takes to consolidate the streams in something that can be trusted as far as the mapping and decision making is concerned. I mean, if
I
I've
mean,
got
cost was
USS
definitely a
sensors,
win-win, right?
well, it is, but I don't think that's the driver. Let me rephrase that. It's not the driver of the car cost. I think it's the soft cost on the back end, because now
Interesting.
you don't need to have all the engineers working on 3 different data streams, trying to sort out and merge it all at the end.
Sure,
I
and
think
it's
the
certainly
cost in the
possible.
car is incidental.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. I mean, I don't know. I will say I've Tesla does have some very talented engineers,
They
and
do.
they when you have smart people working on hard problems, sometimes great things happen, but not always. Sometimes you make a decision or you go down to a path when it's the standard team think problem. When everybody on the team is working on something in a certain way, sometimes you narrow your thought and you don't think in other ways, or they'll say like
Yep.
outside the box thinking. So there is pros and cons, right? Everybody working on the same problem, they're trying to fix that problem, but sometimes you don't go you fail to go, oh, if we just added lidar, we just did this other thing, we
Yeah.
would jump 20 steps ahead of where we are right now because we wouldn't have the problem we're dealing with. So it's a give and take. Constraints are good, sometimes they're bad.
I wonder how much of it was a let's rip the Band-Aid off now versus, deal with it later.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still curious. So, like, anyone out there, again, in the chat, we've got a lot of people hanging out with us, and we appreciate it. Let us know what you think we're going to see tonight. What are your predictions before the stream starts? Once it starts, your predictions, you can't give us a new prediction because it's no longer a prediction. But yeah, so I'm curious to see what folks think. Again, it's going to be on. Which studio is that? It's at a film studio in California.
It's Warner Brothers.
Warner Brothers.
Warner Brothers.
Okay.
Yeah, my understanding was Warner Brothers.
Okay, so we're at a film studio. Hopefully we don't have hopefully we're not on a green screen and we're out in we're supposed to be out in the parking lot witnessing something.
We've seen evidence of them with dudes walking around with lidar backpacks, like really mapping the place out. So whether or not they really use that info, I'm sure they've done a lot of practice runs and things. So we'll see. And they pushed it back, 2 months and 2 days. So
yeah, the interesting thing is if you think about, being able to do like this to solve this problem in the general sense, right? Everyone probably agrees that having really good high quality lidar maps is helpful, right? We know that Tesla sends out vehicles to map areas sometimes, like we saw them, in Canada when they were first, getting ready to turn things on there. Google certainly uses them everywhere. They got their Street View cars and, Waymo, they send out cars. What I think is kind of interesting is Tesla has something that none of these other companies have. I mean, they have a lot of things other companies don't have, but like one of the things they have that's super valuable is the fleet. They have so many vehicles on the road driving everywhere. It's kind of interesting to think of like when they start unlocking using the data from all the cars and all that they're collecting everywhere. If Tesla's actually had lidars in them, they could be getting high-res lidar maps of just everywhere all the time, and then they could use that data to not need lidar in their cars in the future, which is kind of funny to think about. But they don't have lidar in there, so I mean, maybe they're doing that based on camera footage and radar. But
oh yeah, they could be doing that with the camera.
They could be doing it with radar.
I mean, like right now, what is the incremental cost if they had actual lidar on those things? It'd be tens of thousands of dollars, wouldn't it?
No, so
I mean, like those Velodyne things.
Yeah, they're not going to do that, right? Because that makes the car ugly. So they're not going to put that on. They're not going to put that on the Tesla.
The chicken bucket on the top.
The chicken bucket. But I think obviously, a modern iPhone has a lidar in it. It's not the same kind of lidar, right? It's different. They could put
the Xbox lidar.
Yeah. They could put something in Teslas to help mapping. But yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe they can't do a high enough resolution to matter for a cheap enough cost, so it's not worth it. But I mean, hey, they pull ultrasonic sensors and things out of cars, which Mike, you said earlier you didn't think it's because cost. I agree. Some of those things were not cost because of how cheap they are. I think it had more to do with supply chain. They didn't want to not ship cars.
Could be. There's that. There's also labor too.
Sure, that's true.
Just putting them in. Actually, you made me think about something because you talked about the lidar on the phone. So the way that works is they have an infrared laser, and then they have some kind of diffraction grading so that you get an array of dots. Maybe you can see the array of dots that are. That's a similar idea, actually.
Similar to your lasers.
Kind of like what's going on behind you there.
Yeah, exactly. So they have like a sort of a 2D diffraction grading, so you get this array of dots. And what they're able to do is with a camera. So instead of normal lidar is you're sending a laser out and you're measuring time of flight. Like you send the
Right.
pulse out and you measure the time it comes back, and speed of light
Mhm.
is fixed, and you can measure that.
I used to do that
Um,
with interferometers.
Yeah. So, but in this case, you have a camera, and then what happens is the further away the surface that it reflects from, the dots will spread out more. So that's a way of knowing
Mm.
how far things are. And so that technology, I think it's some Israeli company that did that, and that was in the Xbox. And if you remember the Xbox, I think it was called the Kinect,
The
and they had
Kinect,
a
yeah.
lot of sort of fun things you could do. But then I think Apple bought that company.
Yes.
So there's no
killed it.
more Xbox, no more Microsoft, but now it's in your phone, in your iPhone. So for facial mapping. So
Yeah.
neat stuff. Neat
It,
stuff.
it,
I don't know
it
that it
is
would really
neat.
work on a car though. Maybe it's too bright of an environment.
And probably the distances are too far, right?
Yeah,
Because the
yeah,
further
too
you
far.
go, the diffraction it
Yeah,
spreads.
yeah.
But yeah, that's really cool. That is interesting. I definitely,
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm excited to see
I'm
what
watching
they
some of the
announce.
live streamers on X.
Hmm. What was it? Sorry, what'd you say, Mike? No,
Mike, what'd
Mike.
you say, Mike?
I didn't hear what you said. I think we lost
Ah,
them.
I was saying I was watching some of the live streams on X, and everybody's in the holding pattern. Although one guy is showing what looks like a road that's set up right in front of the audience.
Mm.
Uh-huh.
So
So we're
Yeah,
gonna
you expect
see.
something like that to happen.
So we're
hopefully
gonna
we'll
see a
see some
vehicle
live action.
drive in front of some
Some
people in a straight line on a very small road.
hey,
Okay, my
it's a
car can do that now.
demo.
Oh man.
Sure, it's the new summons, right? That's what they're really going to do. They're going to put the cyber taxi at one end and say, "Come to me," you know.
So Tom J in chat says, let's get real. My wife's Model Y and my Model 3 depend on ultrasonic sensors daily in our garage. I wouldn't trust the front cameras unless they add them on or below my bumper. So we've talked about that a lot on the show. We all firmly agree there should be a camera on the front of the cars, like down below, right on the actual front, not up in the in the rear view. It absolutely is important. That being said, I'm not sure your ultrasonics are still doing anything. Because I know in software, depending on the version you're on, they've started turning a lot of that off.
Turn them off.
So for example, my car does have ultrasonics in it, and every time I pull into the garage, it does that 3D map view, and my car goes bananas because it thinks I'm going to hit something because it has a big red mark on where the door is
Don't
of the
touch.
garage
Don't
going in,
touch.
and I'm like, so every time I drive in, my car's like yelling at me, "Don't drive here, you're going to crash." And it's like, no, there's no door. And then once I start getting inside the garage, it goes, oh, yeah, you're right. You didn't hit anything. And then I'm good to pull up, closer to the wall. So anyway, the future is late. Excellent, Justin. The future is supposed to be now. Linzak asks, what's the status of the live event? We are in a holding pattern. We are waiting. As soon as it starts,
Yep.
we will have it broadcasted here. We will show it. But as always, Tesla is delayed. Leet Tech Reviewer. Will any of these ever get improved? Auto high beams, auto wipers, ability to turn off passenger vent with passenger in it. The problem is you said the word ever, and so the answer is, of course, they may someday get improved. I agree with you. I'm frustrated with at least the auto high beams and auto wipers. I imagine some folks do want the vents to be turned off. You can kind of slide it and make it. Nah, it still blows air on them.
It was something that was promised that
Yeah.
there'll be a way of just shutting
Back in
off
the
your
day.
passenger vents, and I've had passengers that don't want it, and basically I'll just have to direct it towards me as best as possible. But they said it was coming, but
that one's easy. It's just software. You could make an intern do that, right? Like that one doesn't.
Well, I don't know.
Like
if
auto
there's
wipers and auto headlights, that's a challenging problem to some degree. Like the air just shut off those vents, or do they not have the hardware?
Yeah, I'm saying it might be a hardware issue because I don't know
Okay.
that you can necessarily shut the passenger off if it doesn't go off. You can, like, the way it works is two different airstreams being pushed up against each other. you could probably redirect them, but I don't know that there's a way of shutting them off. I don't know if there's a separate louver on the passenger side that could actually just turn it off. I think off is the fan not running, but you need the fan to get it, on the driver's side too. So
Yeah.
I don't really.
It also
really
might
know.
be one of those Model S X versus Model
Yeah, it might
3
be a little
Y
different.
problems.
Could be.
Right. Yeah. The let's see, we got a bunch of folks asking all kinds of questions. Opinions on
Apparently,
Hardware
I'm
3
sorry,
vehicles.
I was going to say apparently you can do it on the Cybertruck, according
Oh.
to which makes sense because it's newer hardware. So
Okay.
That
There you go.
That you can turn off the passenger vent.
So it's probably not software limited in the older cars. It's probably hardware. We had some folks ask about getting Hardware 3 vehicles having FSD version 13. Derek says yes, it is. I agree. I think yes, there will be an uproar if they don't do that. As we've seen recently, Tesla tends to release on Hardware 4 vehicles first and then release it on Hardware 3 vehicles. I can't really blame them for that. Speaking from somebody who ships software to millions of devices with different versions, it's easier to just do the new hotness. It's easier to work on that and then figure out how to backport it and scale it down to the other stuff. And it's what engineers
is it
tend to
going to
like
be
to
the
do.
nerfed version? They'll just call it version 13 on
Yeah,
Hardware
so that's
3, but it might be,
So that's really the question. In my opinion, Hardware 4 mostly is just around redundancy. As far as like a lot of the normal specs that it has, while yes, it does have some capabilities that Hardware 3 does not have, for the most part, the runtime of running a model, it seems like most of the hardware specs are basically comparable. It's just Hardware 4 will have better cameras, potentially more cameras, more signals coming in, and redundancy. So you can have parallel computers doing the same kind of calculations and like checking themselves, or also even trying like additional models running, in parallel. So, I mean, do I think Hardware 3 is not going to get the stuff that Hardware 4 does? No, I think for the foreseeable future, Hardware 3 could getting upgrades. By the time Hardware 5 comes out, it's possible. I think that's where we're going to see a bigger shift in the capability.
That might be tonight, right? I mean, the Cybercab probably is Hardware 5, right?
Very likely. That we've talked about it in previous episodes. My opinion is yes. Robotaxi is Hardware 5. So I feel like if they are announcing the reveal of the Robotaxi tonight, Hardware 5 is about to be announced, and all you Hardware 4 people can be just as depressed as me in my Hardware 3 land. It's a lonely place. It's not a lonely place because there's millions of us. But we're all still sad.
So maybe the delay is they're still working on Hardware 5 right now.
Well, I can tell you, Hardware 5 is unlikely to be shipping this year. Just going by, I used to work in semiconductor manufacturing. I've worked in fabs and facilities that make Tesla hardware. Yeah, I don't see them shipping it off the line of production this year. So they're probably not getting full production of those devices until at least next year. But they'll have prototypes, they'll have early, proof of concept devices. So
yeah, I mean, they probably have a roadmap, even if they can't even make it yet.
100%. And I'm pretty sure they're making them. I don't know that for sure. I do not have any insider information. Tesla, please don't sue me. My assumption is that they are already making Hardware 5, at least in fabrication stages of like getting that stuff done. I'm almost certain it's likely already designed. They might still be doing like masking or other types of things for scaling production, but anyway. So
Tesla Fun asked. He said, follow-up question: should there be an AI for a chip retrofit made available that's compatible with older vehicles? My guess is they're not going to do that.
My answer, Tesla Fun, is you son of a bitch, I'm in. Yes, I would love them to do that. They're not going to. I agree with Doug.
Let's do a heist.
Unless they decide that like, hey, it's another way to tap some more revenue. I think the problem
they can charge us for it, except that we've already paid for it. But if they can charge us for it, then maybe they'll do it. But I don't know if they'll do it out of the kindness of their hearts for us.
It definitely will not be a free upgrade.
Unless there could be no joke, there could be, and in fact, there are class action lawsuits about this. So they're, assuming that maybe hardware 4 manages to actually do what was promised at some point, and hardware 3 can't. There will definitely be a class action lawsuit about it, and then maybe they might try to have some kind of band-aid, but that just seems tough. I mean, the hardware is significantly different. If they could get around by just replacing a chip, I mean, that would be tough. It'd be, they'd have to specifically design it for that. This is a chip that we specifically designed for, hardware 3 vehicles to give it some extra capability. I just kind of doubt it would happen.
There, honestly, I feel like Elon is taking something out of the Steve Jobs book of, the people that have that problem will go away. They'll either, he famously said, "Oh, they'll die off." In this case, they're going to go, "Oh, the life expectancy of your car is not going to be there." When you get into, if you think about like phones or computers or whatever, like newer stuff, they want them to be disposable. They want you to get rid of it every couple of years. While yes, people historically could potentially keep cars for 20 years, 30 years, that's kind of not common anymore. I don't know. I wonder, Mike, do you know what the industry standards are? Not for EVs, just cars in general. Like it's probably 10 years, closer to 10 years than it used to be. I know for me, it's about 10 years. I don't usually hold them longer than that.
For which device?
For just like a car, like how long do people? What's the expected life expectancy of the average owner owning a car?
It's actually been discussed a lot, and the reason it's been discussed a lot is while in the old days, my little air quotes, you could keep a car alive 10, 20, 30 years easily, but trying to keep something like a Tesla or anything else that's relatively new, that's custom computerized with ECUs scattered all through the car, custom code that you don't have access to, the odds go down as far as
I was going to say my previous car is 30 years old, but and it was a great car.
But it had one computer in it.
It had,
I mean, how
some kind of,
was it?
Microcontroller.
It had some kind of vacuum tube. No, I'm just kidding. It was it was the 91 Miata, which was a great little car. But you're totally true. As the cars get more computerized, and we have these sort of technology type product cycles. I mean, look at Fisker, right? Fisker 2.0 or whatever.
Yeah.
With the Ocean, I guess it was, that SUV thing. That is now, the company is now bankrupt, and there are people with those cars that are essentially orphaned. Now imagine how, and it tried to be like Tesla. Imagine we have there's some Tesla server that our cars connect to, and a lot of functionality is dependent upon that. Guess what? That server, whatever Fisker server that those cars are connecting to, no more. And supposedly, I think I saw a headline somewhere that they can't just like swap it over to some other company or something, which to me is nuts. Like you would think that they could just sell whatever
so here's a secondary part to that,
whoever.
and you're on the right track, Doug. So a lot of those ECUs, the computers and a lot of components, are actually VIN coded to the car. So you just can't. So let's say you got your 30-year-old car, you just can't pick up an ECU from a boneyard, slap it into your car, and expect it to work. Not going to, unless you have some way to recode it. There are folks that have specialized in this and are making quite a bit of bank because they have figured out how to lift chips off boards and recode things. That's where we're at. So will your car last 10 years? Maybe.
I mean, I think 10 years is reasonable. Like I definitely think 10 years is still going to be a thing. But like 20, 30 years, I think that's probably becoming less of a thing. And Tesla wants you to buy a new car. Why are they going to let you upgrade your old stuff?
So actually, I think the direction will end up being much more like a subscription for your car versus buying it.
Sure.
Well, if you're just getting some kind of Robotaxi, if you're not even owning,
but that's
I
mean, a service
for someone like Elon that wants to control the market, top to bottom, vertical. I mean, that's the way to do it. You don't have a choice in keeping the car. Your car will be turned in at the end of 3 years or 5 years or whatever they decide on. And it'll be under the guise of, oh, look at the new improved car, and you just pay the same amount.
Yeah. That's fair. And to be clear, because I see some folks getting upset in chat, I'm not trying to say or imply that Teslas won't last 10 years. I absolutely believe they will last 10 years. In fact, we know there are Teslas that have lasted longer than 10 years.
Oh yeah.
What I'm saying is people on average will not keep their car for 10 years. What I'm saying is
They will be
the
strongly
trend in as consumers is we will start replacing our cars more often. I feel like, for example, with an EV, because the technology changes so quickly, a lot of people I know will lease an EV. They won't buy an EV, even though they would never lease a car historically. They'll only lease an EV because they're worried that the battery won't last, which is, we all know, is nonsense. The battery will last, but like they're worried that the technology changes too fast. What happens if, whatever. So they don't want that long-term commitment of their vehicle.
Yeah, I would say that's one positive thing about my car is that with the regular software updates, it kind of, feels like a new car in a way. It definitely isn't the same car that it was when I first got it. All the different visualization now
Sure.
and extra features that have come in, and as FSD gets better,
But
I
by
enjoy
the
the car quite a
same
bit.
token, Doug, I mean, Elon could say, well, your car has only got a life expectancy of 10 years, and we're going to brick it at the 10-year mark because we don't want the liability of supporting it.
Well, then he has the liability of that class action lawsuit again.
Yeah, I was just saying, I don't see that
saying,
happening.
It's a different kind of liability.
I mean, this is actually, well, it hasn't happened to a car, but the company that makes the Juice Point charger basically announced to everyone that has them, yeah, you got like 3 days to find some other way to charge because we're going to brick it all. Now they've backed
Well,
away.
were they
because
going out of business, or were they just
they
making
went
a new
out of,
product?
they're going out of business in the US.
Oh, see, that's what it is, right? It's the Fisker thing I was talking about, right? Okay,
Yeah.
if the company goes out of business, then what can you do? And then then you are kind of screwed, right? And that kind of thing has happened not in cars, but in other things. People play video games that are based on some server, and they're not going to last.
Server
forever.
goes away. Yeah, company goes away.
Yeah. So
Now, none of us are suggesting that Tesla's going to go away anytime soon. So let's not doom and gloom. Your Tesla's going to be fine in 10 years.
I mean, and I would own a car for 10 years easy unless it got totaled or something. Like I said, I drove a little Miata for 30 years, and that was a great car. I never got tired of it. And
I
I've
keep
been
saying
driving.
that, but I get distracted by the new shiny objects that they offer.
Nah, I mean, I'm happy. If I'm having fun while driving, then I'm in a good shape. I was driving a 2013 Model S not that long ago. And that was it was like the brown era, when you could actually buy one that was brown. And the drivetrain is really whiny. It's like, like you hear it, it's really noisy. But it's fun. It's got lots of pickup, and it's kind of like, it's big. It's like driving a kind of a boat,
I have to say, so I had to get something fixed in my car. So I have 2022 Model S Plaid that had an issue. Whatever, they took it in. They gave me a Model S loaner, and I think it was like a 2019. It was awful. I hated it. I was just like, oh, the screen's the wrong way. Oh, everything's so bulky and busy. It was awful. I was like, people like this car. Now, obviously, I would have loved that car in 2019.
That's right.
But compared to my 2022 refreshed Model S, it was garbage. I hated it. It was gross. I mean, it's one of those things that as they evolve the tech, as you get new bells and whistles, what happens when Tesla puts a front camera on the front of the damn car, which we know they're going to, they have
will
to
buy a new car.
And you can do full 360 view, just like you could do on a Porsche or a BMW or whatever. How many people are going to go, ooh, I want that, and I can't get it because it's a hardware difference, and they're going to buy their thing. So I think, for me, I've had a car for like 8 years. I've had a car for 10, 11 years. I think maybe 11 might have been my longest. My Tesla, I obviously spent a lot on it, and I hope to keep it for at least 10 years, but who knows, right? Like the next new shiny comes along. I feel like we're on a trajectory of people owning them less and less. Again, as Doug said earlier, looks like they're trying to move us to subscription models, right? If Robotaxi happens, you're going to be paying your Tesla subscription. It's like an Uber subscription, and just not own a car. I know that's hard to imagine. I live in a city. I live in Austin, so I live where Tesla's headquarters is. I know people. I've worked with people that do not own cars. There's no public transit here that you can not own a car. They literally use ride sharing. They sign up to the Uber or Lyft or whatever, subscription, and they ride share everywhere, every day to work or wherever they're going. Ooh, it looks like we might be starting. Tesla Live. Let's go. So anyway, so subscriptions might be the future.
I think
But
that's
I'm
a
an old
legal
person.
Disclaimer.
I'm an old person though, so I would like to own my cars. Legal disclaimer. That's what we're getting. Please don't sue us.
That's right.
When you see the car not be a
certain
Robo
statements
Taxi.
may be lies. All right, here we go.
And the audience cheers.
Ladies and gentlemen, here, everywhere, online, around the world, outer space, I'm Franz. And on behalf of everybody at Tesla, welcome to We Robot. Just want to thank Warner Brothers for hosting us here. As you know, this is the birthplace of many epic films, many of them depicting a vision of the future. We're here tonight to experience that future that is closer than you think. And
Here
who
it
better
comes.
than Elon, right, to show us that future? So it looks like Elon's on his way, so let's welcome him up here.
He's on his way. Oh, here we go. Here's something. It does look kind of cyber trucky in the front.
It does look like a Cybertruck on the front,
It
doesn't
looks exactly like we thought it would look like all the renders. Who's in the spacesuit?
At least it doesn't have a cowboy.
Sorry, I had to get more booze.
Oh, look, butterfly doors. Ooh. The least practical door style. You want doors that go like this.
It has
like
that
this,
Cybertruck-esque stainless look.
this, like this.
Pay attention to the gaps. All right, Crimson Decade. Throw a metal ball at it. Sure.
That would be expensive, Crimson. We can't do rear glass. Tesla doesn't look in the past. You don't look behind you. You only go forward.
Now look at that light bar. Yeah, it's kind of interesting looking.
It's definitely got a Cybertruck-ish
what is up?
feel.
What is up with the city? It's so desolate.
It's almost like it's on a movie studio.
Yeah. You can't see crap. Why are they doing this in the middle
Oh,
of the
the bikes are pretty cool though.
Like
night? I see
Tron.
a Tron, like, oh, look at the laser light.
Tron bikes. Ooh, the laser. That's pretty sick. That's definitely, yeah. That's
definitely
not
street
useful or
legal,
practical at all, but it looks cool as hell.
or even street legal.
You wanted alternative sensors for the front. You got it. It's a laser.
Hey, look, you can see the LiDAR in the
I
fog.
thought the car was still moving when he came out because he can tell. Come on, this lighting. Oh my gosh.
The man, the myth, the legend, Elon Musk.
Welcome. Welcome to the We Robot Party. So we have quite a show for you tonight. I think you're gonna like it. As you can see, I just arrived in the Robotaxi, the Cybercab,
Cybercab.
and there's 20 more where that came from. So they've been traveling. There's no people in them, as you can see. The car's just going by with no people.
No people.
And we have
No
we have
obstructions
50
either.
fully autonomous cars here tonight.
I wonder if there are any
So you'll
like remote
see-
control.
Model Ys and the Cybercab, all driverless. You'll be able to take a ride in the Cybercab. There's no steering wheel or pedals.
Forget the
So I hope this
stocks.
goes well. We'll find out. So you see a lot of sci-fi movies where the future is dark and dismal, where it's not a future you want to be in.
Yeah, he's making it look dark and dismal.
You know, like I love Blade Runner, but I don't know if we want that future. I think we want that duster he's wearing, but not the bleak apocalypse. We want to have a fun,
Says the man who designed a
exciting
Cybertruck.
future that if you could look in a crystal ball and see the future, you'd be like, yes, I wish I could be there now. That's what we want. So when we think about transport today, there's a lot of kind of pain that we take for granted that we think is normal. Like having to drive around LA in like 3 hours of traffic. Yeah, and people that live in LA, I mean, you know, try to get from Pasadena to, you know, El Segundo during rush hour is like, you can fly to, you know, another city faster than you can get to cross down LA. So, and you have to drive the whole way. Unless you're in a Tesla, of course. Now, Tesla already does quite well at this, you know, supervised self-driving. So supervised full self-driving is actually working quite well. I'm sure there's people in the crowd, you're using that, yeah? So we'll move from supervised full self-driving to unsupervised full self-driving, where the car, you could fall asleep and wake up at your destination.
Or you may never wake up.
But there's also a challenge for a lot of people that cars cost too much. I mean, when you factor in everything that goes into a car, and the car insurance, and the car payments, and the storage of the car, it's very expensive. So with, and you say like how many hours a week are cars used? Your average passenger car is only used about 10 hours a week out of 168 hours. So the vast majority of the time, cars are just doing nothing. But if they're autonomous, they could be used, I don't know, 5 times more, maybe 10 times more. So you could actually, for the same car, would have 5 times as much value, maybe 10 times as much value. There's 168 hours in the week, and like I said, only 10 of them are used for driving. So, and then a bunch of those hours are looking for a parking spot, which is, you know, can be pretty annoying at times.
Definitely not going to last 10 years if it does that.
So we want, with autonomy, you get your time back. This is a very big deal. So it's not just like it'll save lives, like a lot of lives, and prevent injuries.
Well, if it's paid for itself by then.
We'll see autonomous cars become 10 times safer than a human. I mean, if you think of times past where there used to be an elevator operator in every elevator, but once in a while they get tired and they accidentally shear somebody in half, you know. So now we have automated elevators. You just get in an elevator and you press a button, and you don't even think about it, and it just takes you to the floor. And if you did see an elevator operator with a big relay switch, you'd be like, "That's weird." Now that's how cars will be.
Is he trying to reinvent trains?
Yeah,
it's not just
elevators
the
don't
lives
bang into
saved
each
and
other.
injuries, but if you think about the cumulative time that people spend in a car and the time that they will get back, that they can now spend, well, I guess on their phones or watching a movie or doing work or whatever you want to do. You can think of the car in an autonomous world as being like just a little lounge. You're just sitting in a comfortable little lounge, and you can do whatever you want while you're in this comfortable little lounge. And when you get out, you will be at your destination. So, yeah, it's going to be awesome. So in fact, I think the cost of autonomous transport will be so low that you can think of it like individualized mass transit. The average cost of a bus per mile for a city not the ticket price, because that is subsidized, but the average price is about $1 a mile. Whereas the cost of Cybercab, we think probably over time, from the operating cost is probably going to be around 20 cents a mile. And price, including taxes and everything else, probably ends up being 30 or 40
How about
cents
mile
a
per person?
Yeah, there's no way it's gonna be better than
Yes,
a buck.
Mile
You'll
per
buy one.
person.
Yes, exactly. And we expect the cost to be below $30,000.
I thought there was a $30,000 Cybertruck,
And
right?
I think there'll be an interesting, business model where, like, let's say somebody is an, Uber or Lyft driver today, where they can actually sort of manage a fleet of cars, and like a sort of manage, I don't know, 10, 20 cars, and just sort of, take care of them like a shepherd.
The hell is this camera
You
angle?
have a little your flock of cars, and you're the
Drone,
shepherd,
maybe?
and you take care of your flock of cars. I think that'd be pretty cool.
I don't want a flock of cars.
And I think it's gonna be a glorious future. It's gonna be really something special.
You too can be a
So-
car rental service.
I believe that would be
good-
churro.
All excellent questions. So we do expect actually to start fully autonomous, unsupervised FSD in
Yes, Peter Griffin. Oh my
Texas and
God, who the hell
California next
cares?
year.
Yes, sir.
Texas, California next year.
That's obviously with the Model
Unsupervised.
3 and Model Y, and then we expect to be in production with the Cybercab, which is really highly optimized for autonomous transport. In probably, well, I tend to be a little optimistic with timeframes.
He said next year, this year
But
again.
in 2026.
Oh, 2026. That
Yeah.
means 28, 29.
Before 2027, let me put it that way.
Before 2027.
And we'll make this vehicle in very high volume, and but well before that, you will experience a robotic taxi via the Model 3 and Model Y program, and Model S and X too.
Okay, good.
There you go. There's your hardware 4 upgrade.
Will achieve unsupervised full self-driving with permission in wherever regulators essentially approve it in the U.S. and then to follow in outside the U.S.
We're getting in Texas because they don't have
That's true.
regulators.
Yes, of course. Sorry, I don't want to be. Yes. All our cars are basically all cars that we make. So
With hardware 5.
let's not get nuanced here.
No nuance.
All right, next slide.
Oh, forget the details. Who needs them?
So one of the reasons why the computer can be so much better than a person is that we have millions of cars that are training on driving. So it's like living millions of lives simultaneously and seeing very unusual situations that a person in their entire lifetime would not see. But
I like this one.
hopefully, yeah, exactly. So so with that amount of training data, it's obviously going to be much better than what a human could be, because you can't live a million lives. And it's also, it can see in all directions simultaneously, and it doesn't get tired or text or any of those things. So it will naturally be, like I said, 10, 20, 30 times safer than a human, just for all those reasons. And I want to emphasize that the solution that we have is AI and vision. So there's no expensive equipment needed. So the Model 3 and Model Y and S and X that we make today will be capable of full autonomy unsupervised. And that means that our cost of producing the vehicle is low. Now, we are going to actually overspec the computer for the Cybercab. So our AI5 computer will be
AI5.
somewhat overspec'd. And because I think there's actually also an opportunity, sort of like in Amazon Web Services, where if the car's driving for 50 hours a week, there's still over 100 hours left. And there's a potential there to have a massive amount of distributed inference compute, where if you've got, like, say, a fleet of 100 million vehicles and a kilowatt of efficient inference compute, you have 100 gigawatts of compute, which is really quite substantial.
I'm going to use my car while it's in my garage and my electric bill.
Exactly.
Awesome.
So, yeah, so that's...
Run your battery
that,
down,
think,
and I can give you a
will make
thank you
sense.
for it.
So, all right. So our autonomous future is here. As I said, we've got 50 Teslas driving autonomously. We're trying to give you a sense of what cities will be like in the future. And when you get in, you'll see, like, it's really quite a wild experience to just be in a car with no steering wheel, no pedals, no controls, and it feels great.
Yeah, but only seats too.
And we have enough vehicles here, so everyone should be able to try it out and experience the set that we've built here. It's a very big set, so it's like really, we've used I don't know, 20, 30 acres or something like that. It's really big. So it goes on, the ride's long. And we set it up to feel like a ride, like a park ride. So it'll be cool, and you'll get to experience it tonight. Something we're also doing is, and it's really high time we did this, is inductive charging. So the Robotaxi has no plug. It just goes over the inductive charger and charges. So
that's inefficient.
They've been sneaking that around for a while.
Thanks, guys. I love you too.
I wonder if you'll ever see it from home.
One of the things that
I wouldn't want to for my electric bill.
Is how will this affect?
You're in Texas. You get free juice, right?
We live in. And when you drive around a city, or when the car drives you around a city, you'll see there's a lot of parking lots. There's parking lots everywhere. Parking garages. So what would happen if you have an autonomous world is that you can now turn parking lots into parks. And so we're taking the ing lot out of parking lot. Welcome. So there's a lot of opportunity to create.
Did you hear that, Doug? Inductive charging coming your way.
In the cities that we live in.
Okay. What the hell is that?
There's no plug for the Robo
Is that the
Taxi.
bus? What is that?
So that would be quite fantastic. Oh, and also,
Cyberbus.
What happens if you need a vehicle that is bigger than a Model Y?
There you are.
So this is
Cyberbus.
unexpected. This is unexpected. They're releasing a bus.
The Robovan.
Didn't we see a bus like that in iRobot?
This is we're going to make,
ridiculous.
and it's going to look like that.
We're going to make
imagine
this.
Going down the streets and you see this coming towards you.
Run.
That'd be sick.
That would be sick. Oh god.
It looks like the airport shuttle.
So this can carry up to 20 people, and it can also transport goods. So
Tesla's reinvented the bus.
Goods transport within a city, or transport of up to 20 people at a time.
Next up, the train.
So this is gonna.
Well, I like the idea of it carrying goods in a city.
High density. So if you want to take a sports team somewhere, or you're looking to really get the cost of travel down to, I don't know, 5-10 cents a mile, then you can use the Robovan. Some people call it the Robovan, but so yeah. One of the things that we want to do, and we've seen this with the Cybertruck, is we want to change the look of the roads. The future should look like the future.
As imagined by the 1980s.
So, speaking of robots.
Okay.
So, everything we've developed for our cars, the batteries, power electronics, the advanced motors, gearboxes, the software, the AI inference computer, it all actually applies to a humanoid robot.
But wait, there's more.
It's just a robot
here we
with
are.
arms and legs instead of a robot with wheels. And we've made
Definitely
a
looks
lot
like
of progress
iRobot.
with
Murder
the
bots.
Optimus. And as you can see, we started up with someone in a robot suit, sort of down, and then we've progressed dramatically year after year. So if you extrapolate this, you're really going to have something spectacular.
I like
Something
all the
that
handlers
anyone-
hovering
Yeah,
around the
the-
robots.
Are the handlers to
have
make sure they doesn't
your
kill
own
anyone?
Personal R2D2 C3PO.
He's sounding like Disco Stew.
And
He's like, here's the
think
popularity of
at
disco
scale,
music from.
this would
1970s,
cost something like, I don't know,
$1979.
$20,000, $30,000.
If
less
these
than a
trends
car.
continue,
Is my prediction
Hey.
long term. Now, it'll take us a minute to get to the long term, but fundamentally at scale, the Optimus robot, you should be able to buy an Optimus robot for I
That
think
was a
probably
plastic
$20,000
plant.
to $30,000 long term. So and what can it do? It can.
I want to
it'll
watch
be
him
able to
fold my
Do
shirt.
anything you want. So it can.
it's got
be a
man
teacher,
hands.
babysit your kids. It can walk your dog, mow your lawn, get the groceries.
If give and fold my laundry, I'm
just be
buying
your
one.
friend, serve drinks, whatever you can think of.
Thank you,
Will
Skynet.
do. And yeah, it's going to be awesome. I think this will be the biggest product ever of any kind. Yeah. Because I think everyone of the 8 billion people of Earth, I think everyone's going to want.
So how's he going to
Your
do all
Optimus
this when
buddy.
he like fires everybody
And
every 6 months or
There's going
so?
to be maybe 2, and then there'll
He
be.
replaces them
they'll
with
be
the robots.
Producing products and services. I predict actually, provided we address risks of digital superintelligence, 80% probability of a good outcome. Look on the bright side. The cup is 80% full. The cost of products and services will decline dramatically, and basically anyone will be able to have any products and services they want. It will be an age of abundance, the likes of which people have almost no one has envisioned. It'll be something special.
I can't even.
So,
Sounds.
now one of the things we
dystopic.
wanted to show tonight was that Optimus is not a canned video. It's not walled off. The Optimus robots will walk among you.
Without their handlers?
Please be nice to the Optimus robots.
It may murder you.
That's right.
Please don't
So
touch.
You'll be able to walk
Twitch,
right up
twitch.
to them, and they'll serve drinks at the bar.
Well, that's
They'll
cool.
Be I bet you they're remote operated.
Remote
And
operated.
you'll directly
At least managed
I
remotely.
mean, that's just, it's a wild experience just to have humanoid robots, and they're there. You're just in front of you. So, yeah, with that,
Robot,
let's party.
pour me a drink.
I'll take that martini shaken, not stirred.
Got some
Is that it?
Allen Rare
you
cast
guys
going on
too.
tonight.
If you look at that gazebo over there, let's get the party started.
Is that where the DJ is? Oh, robot DJ.
Robot DJ.
I was gonna say they
Oh,
should play
robot
Robot
dancers.
Rock.
Dancing robots.
Yeah, this is exactly what I expected them to play.
This is
So,
100% Tesla.
Daft Punk. This is when we get
This is
copyright
Elon.
struck. We're gonna get copyright strikes from Daft Punk.
Quick, mute the stream.
But yeah, this is Robot Rock. I'm trying to talk over it. Okay, I'm sorry. Like maybe turn it down.
Turn it way down. Yeah, they're gonna demonetize us.
Maybe if I sing it, it'll be okay. But that's exactly the tune I expected them to play. Was Robot Rock by Daft Punk. Now they're playing "What Is Love, Baby Don't Hurt Me."
Night at the Roxbury.
So
Man.
we'll have robot pole dancers when this is all done.
They're all synchronized. At least they're all doing, I guess, the same program here. Yeah, they should have a pole in the middle.
Don't give them
This is
ideas.
a family-friendly show, Doug.
Hey, they're robots. What do you want?
That's right.
Well, that's kind of cool, I guess. Is that it? Is that the?
I think that's.
I
it.
think I'm assuming that's it.
Uh huh.
So I didn't expect the bus. That was interesting.
Yeah.
Inductive charging did not surprise me.
Inductive charging.
I've seen rumors about that for months now.
Terrible idea. I mean,
I agree. Inefficient.
it's not a terrible idea from
It's just from convenience and simplicity.
convenience,
It's just a
but
bad
it's terribly
idea for
inefficient.
efficiency.
terribly inefficient.
Well, it's like maybe 85,
80%,
90%.
80 to 90. Yeah.
Yeah. 10% is 10% if it's like a lot of miles and stuff. So But-
Let's put it this way. I would not do that at my house if I'm paying for the electric bill.
exactly, and you can just plug it in yourself. But so the Cybercab or whatever they're calling it looks exactly like we thought, right?
Yes, it does.
Pretty much. It's a
Um,
Cybertruck mixed with a Model Y or Model 3 or whatever.
The extra 2 months, was that for that that bus thing? That bus thing is, seems rather simple. So I mean, I don't know that. I mean, yeah, especially if it's a one-off, they could make that pretty easily. It does have that 80s look, the 80s look of the future. Oh, did you ever see Time Cop with?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Paul Bettany?
Yes.
I think in that movie, everyone was riding around in these huge SUVs, and they kind of looked like that. These like really goofy, dumb-looking like SUVs because they figure that's what we'd all be riding.
Honestly, I would buy
Wow,
that
that was
motorcycle
it.
they had earlier. They should just make that.
They just cut it off. I guess we're done.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's it, huh? Well, gee,
that was short and
What do we
sweet.
think? Any comments? I just want to point out this is Sam Perry. Sam Perry is in our comments. Does anyone remember Sam Perry? He's the
Yes. How
he was-
dare you say it like that? Don't be disrespectful.
Oprah Winfrey called him Mr. Man. He happened to be seen. Oh wait, we're getting some shots of this. Like, I mean, what we need is the interior shot, right?
It's a seat with nothing
Yeah.
and a screen.
Yeah, it's just a screen and two.
There's
seats.
no pedals. Mike, I'm sorry to tell you, there's no stalks in the steeringless wheel
Oh, I'm crushed.
car.
Hey Sam, I haven't
Sam.
seen him. I met Sam back in probably 2008-ish or something.
But it's
anyway.
interesting they went with the door design they did and not copying
That's
the X.
That's a terrible idea. Okay, it's not a terrible idea to not copy the X. I feel like this feels to me like one of those Elonisms where he insisted on doing that when it is not a good idea
Practical.
from
It's not
a
practical for what
reliability,
he's talking-
efficiency,
You're
cost.
talking about
Like
the doors.
Yeah, how the
doors,
doors
yes.
open and close.
Yeah, I mean, the butterfly doors make some sense in terms of ease of ingress and egress. They don't make a lot of sense for parking close to things. I would have thought if you really wanted to be convenient, you'd do basically minivan doors that just kind of
Sliding doors. Sliding doors.
I
Not
agree,
very
electric
sexy,
car
but they
guy.
work.
Electric car guy says, I feel like they could have had auto charging, like the power cables plugs in automatically within your 5 feet. Like, I don't want the snake thing that they demoed, whatever that was, 8 years ago or whatever. But like, just you get close and a thing comes out and docks. That would have been more efficient and not that hard to do, right? Like, yeah, muting the audio.
Yeah.
There's just music and dancing of robots.
Techno music
So
with
they had to
techno
have 20
robots.
of them. Having gone to these kind of events, like basically you could be there till 2:00 in the morning, waiting for your chance to get your little ride. But this is basically what you'd expected, that people would be able to get a ride and it goes around some fixed course. But yeah, I wonder if any of those cars are remotely activated. Okay, now look at this. This is someone is that Optimus right there? With the lit face? It's so dark. They could have done this during the day.
No.
Look
I think
at all
that's
these people using their
no.
cell
I think that
phones.
is
Oh, yeah, it
Optimus
is.
as a bartender.
That-
Optimus
that
is a
it.
bartender.
He's got a
hat
cowboy
on.
and they put a shirt on him.
Yeah. Optimus is a
I
bartender.
wonder if he's remote operated.
So
He probably is.
Thompson's a guy in a suit. I don't think it could be, but I don't think so.
Yeah, I think
now,
it's a guy. It is a guy in a suit, but the guy is in a suit, like behind the stage.
Yeah.
somewhere.
20 feet away.
yeah, 20 feet away.
or in one of those houses, in one of those buildings.
That
He's
that
got
would be
he's got the Apple 3D VR going on, yeah.
yeah.
No, definitely, right?
Well, I will say, so something that was he said that just to pick it apart a little bit, he said Robotaxi, he estimates, or sorry, with our existing vehicles, existing vehicles being made today, or like the Model 3, Model Y, and then he's like Model S and X and whatever. He said 2025 for unsupervised FSD. However, he also then said something about AI 5 or the hardware 5. So realistically, I think he means the models that we have today, when they are built next year with hardware 5, will have unsupervised FSD. So if that kind of tracks with what we estimated, hardware 5 next year.
Yep.
And yes, I believe it will get downported to hardware 4 and 3. I don't think it's only going to be hardware 5. But the Robotaxi will be on hardware 5 for sure, if not hardware 6, but probably hardware 5. And they're looking at that for, he said 2026, which realistically means closer to 2027 to maybe 8.
Yep.
And then that's probably getting, and he said Texas and California or something. It was like specifically limited areas, which means when are we getting real true autonomous? I'm still standing by 2030 is the earliest we're going to see this. I'm going with it. And even that's
areas,
a stretch.
You know, that sounds a lot like Waymo.
Right. And guess what? I live in Austin. They have that now. I can do that around Austin today.
And in San Francisco.
Yeah.
I just wanted to point something out earlier, just a few minutes ago, and now they showed this other bot sort of dancing or whatever. It seemed like the robot was sort of taking orders. It was most definitely remote controlled and a person in a suit. Just by the way it was moving and kind of doing a peace sign and kind of reacting to people. So there's definitely somebody in there. I wonder how far away they are.
Telefactoring was the name they like to use. The robots are teller factory.
That's true. Elite Tech Reviewer said, he said vehicles today being made today will get it, which means hardware 4 will definitely get it. But that's true. That might mean hardware 3 won't get it. I still think that they will, because the difference between hardware 4 and 3 is not as great as they seem to make it sound.
Yeah, so I just want to point out. So here we see the video where
he's posing to take pictures.
Yeah, and he did like the peace sign and stuff. Like I think probably the dude was just told to like try to move a little bit like a robot, you know.
Yeah, if you look at the movement, I mean, you can tell it's definitely a mechanical thing, right? Mm-hmm. It's because of just you're seeing there's like holes and gaps and stuff. There's not a person in the suit.
Yeah, not a person in a
but 100% it is moving like it's being remote controlled by a person in a bodysuit. Mm-hmm. And that is a technology that has existed for years. Mm-hmm. That is not a new technology. Well, so like it's very likely that's what they're doing.
Makes sense.
Sure. Capture. And absolutely motion capture. They're on a movie set, you know, but yeah, that's kind of funny. I just want my R2.
Yes, sir.
Nice. Yeah.
R2. Swiss Army knife.
I've got my reservation in.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. There was definitely a bunch of hype. You know, him again. He's still hyping that the robots. Here's the thing. Just like, so as somebody who works in, I hate to say it, works with AI and in AI, but really I prefer the term machine learning and ML, because that's the actual
get a
term.
Nobel Prize on that.
Yeah. Oh God, we're not gonna get into
physics.
that. Nobel committee. What the F are you doing?
Now,
the chemistry
we'll
one.
Back. We have to talk about that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. But what I have to say is the man. Now I'm almost lost my train of thought because you got me so angry with the Nobel Prize. Anyway,
you work in machine learning.
Yeah. So working in machine learning, what I would say is the man. Okay, I totally lost it. No, we'll circle back. We'll circle back.
Right.
Yeah, I've been drinking. I'm sorry, but yeah.
So yeah, me too. So Nobel Prize in physics. Now, you know,
one of them is a physicist. I fully give him credit. One of them is a physicist. One of them is not a physicist.
Yeah.
And there are applications in statistical physics using the techniques that they developed.
Neural networks, sure.
But they were not doing physics with their anyway, sorry.
Yeah, I know it's fine. You don't need to be a physicist to get a Nobel Prize in physics. I mean,
it's
like
true.
Those Bell Labs.
I'm planning on getting one next year. No, I'm just kidding.
those Bell Labs guys that you know, just by happenstance detected the cosmic microwave background radiation,
Sure.
know, they got the Nobel Prize.
Absolutely. Well deserved in physics. It was physics.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Well, that's the thing, right? To me, the Nobel Prize in physics should be about fundamental basic physics, right?
Yes.
And they kind of did this before, back in, maybe it's been about 10 years since. They had a Nobel Prize for the essentially for the blue LED. Suji Nakamura.
Yes, I do remember
Yep.
that. Yes.
He I'll say he invented this.
For all
He worked
intents
for
and
Nichia
purposes, he
Chemical
did.
It's
Company.
if
But
you
to
don't know
me-
about it, look it up, watch some videos. Blue LED is very
great.
fascinating.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I mean-
Anyway, keep going.
I always say the blue LED is what lets me know that I live in the future, because I
Yes.
remember a time when it didn't exist, and I was like, oh, it'd be so cool if there was a blue LED,
Now
because
there
then you
is.
could have full color displays and all
Yes.
these sort of things. And it unlocked a lot of things. And we have lots of, all your home lighting now is
RGB, man.
done
Your
with LED. Right?
Televisions, your phones. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yep.
okay, OLED's different, but whatever. But
Well, but
many
like, and the-
technologies are developed because of it.
well, even OLED. I mean, you have the backlight on a LCD is some kind of LED, or you can have a UV LED with a white phosphor or whatever. Anyway, my problem with that though was like, it was kind of a political thing, in that, the importance of LEDs in terms of, for the environment, of saving energy for lighting. And that's why they got it, really. But that's an engineering problem. That wasn't a physics problem, right?
True.
Like being able to get gallium nitride working right, and get crystals of enough quality that you could get a nice light emitter and make a laser even.
Very cool.
But I mean, I was like, well, it should have gone to the inventor of the LED,
True.
which happened, some decades earlier. Probably that guy was dead by now. But it
Which
didn't
means
make
he
sense.
can't win it.
Yeah, exactly. But to me, it didn't make sense. I'm like, oh, okay, well, fine. And I've met Suji Nakamura, and okay, fine, great. And it makes a big difference. And we're all using that technology now. But dude, this one, for machine learning, it's
Ugh.
not physics.
Not physics.
Now,
Not physics at all.
there's no mathematics Nobel Prize. There is no engineering Nobel Prize. And, as a physics person, essentially everything is physics, but, or you could also look at physics as using mathematics to model the world. And that's essentially what machine
Physics is
learning
applied
is.
mathematics. But
Yeah, it just rubs me the wrong way. And what it really tells you is that physics ain't doing so great. That there's nothing more compelling going on. in
AI hype
actual
train,
physics.
baby. So the lightning bolt went into my brain. I remember what I was trying to say earlier.
Oh, yeah.
So what I was going to say is,
Let's finish
as
this
someone
topic.
that works in machine learning and works with AI and all that kind of stuff, the day that you know that ChatGPT is actually better than staff and engineers and all this other kind of stuff is the day OpenAI fires most of their staff and engineers and actually just uses ChatGPT, right? That's how you know. When you look at these companies that go, oh, I have a model that's better than a program, and they can program, yet they still have open job recs hiring programmers, it's a bunch
They're
of
not
BS.
better yet.
The day that Tesla, this is the circling back to Tesla, this is the whole point of this topic. The day that Tesla stops hiring people or starts firing people over using Optimus in their factories or at their jobs is the day that that's a real piece of technology that's actually better than a person at doing things. And so I would love to buy an Optimus. Again, as you said earlier, if you can fold my laundry, laundry alone, I'd do it. Dishes, maybe. I don't mind dishes as much. Laundry is really bad. But, if it could do those types of things, because dishwasher's already kind of a robot, but we won't get into
It's
that.
only the folding part.
The folding, exactly. Folding my
And the
laundry.
putting
That's
away,
the thing.
maybe.
So Elite Tech Reviewer asked, did the Optimus home robots will be 20, 30K each? Or did I mishear that? Anyone catch that? Can't decide if it's fair or not outside my budget, but if it does laundry.
I didn't catch the price.
I didn't catch him saying that, but again, I've been drinking, so it's very possible he did. We'll know tomorrow
He
when
said that before, though. And in
Yes.
the previous event, he said cost to them 10K and cost to the consumer, I think 20 to 30K.
Right. Yeah, that sounds right. So, I mean, yeah, not worth it right now, but in the future, yeah, for sure. Like, that'd be awesome.
I said before, as soon as they can actually make something that they can sell, even if it doesn't do anything, people will buy it.
and it can't
People will
be.
buy it.
It cannot just be an inappropriate thing that I'm not going to say. It needs to be
No, but
actually a useful thing.
people would buy what they're showing right now. And if you could have a little SDK to try to program it to do stuff, or maybe you can pair it to your, you know, what was it, your app, whatever the Apple, I forgot what the visor thing is that the Apple has, whoever.
Vision Pro.
Whatever, yeah, some
Yeah.
kind of. I was gonna say the Oculus, but he has a beef with
Facebook.
Elon has a beef.
You know
with,
what? John Carmack
Zuckerberg.
is a amazing engineer and a legend, and he was the CTO for Oculus. So,
Or I thought you were gonna
Yeah.
say Palmer Luckey, wasn't he the?
well, he was the original, but yeah. They brought in Carmack at Meta to anyway. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I'm a big Carmack fan. Yeah. So okay, so he did. So Sam Perry, thanks Sam, great to have you out there. So he said it confirmed they did say 20 to 30K repeated tonight. Price not cost. Yeah, I mean, would I pay 30K for a robot that can fold my laundry? Probably not. It depends how well it folds it. 20K.
main
Now
thing
we're
is-
maybe talking.
The main thing is you can play with it, right? I mean, you would totally buy that thing for 30K.
Okay, he's right. You know
even
what?
if it did nothing, you would
Okay.
you would tell it to do little things and
Doug knows me
you
too
would try
well.
to program it, right?
Doug
Come
knows
on.
me too well. I would. Yeah. And is that Danny on YouTube? I see in the comments. I'd pay 100K for it. I don't know. 100K, my wife might give me the side eye, but 30K maybe.
30K, yeah. For 30K, I would buy one for TMC, and
Yeah.
and have it dance. Hopefully, it would be
Have a dance.
it would be better than this one. Let me see. Where is it? Here we go.
You know what? I don't even have folding standards. Can it just hang my laundry? It doesn't even need to fold it. I just hang my laundry.
Hopefully, it'll be better than this robot. This is the
Oh,
official
boy.
TMC robot.
The TMC robot. Yeah.
Trying to open the door.
Having a little struggle there.
And no.
Nope. Never mind.
That's
Oh,
the,
boy. Well-
that's the image that I use when you get denied access to our website.
Yeah, I
and
saw that
we've been
today.
dealing with some technical issues lately, so people have been seeing this robot quite a bit. So
Yeah,
There
so
it
I
is.
mean, I'm not trying to end things. I'm just gonna say thanks everyone for hanging out with us tonight. It's been a blast seeing the event. As always, make sure check out TeslaMotorsClub.com on the forums and threads there. There's going to be a lot of talk and conversation around this, I'm sure. So we always appreciate it, and your comments and coming to hang out with us is great. So
they finished their live stream. I just
They-
take
did
it
they?
back a little bit. Yeah.
okay,
Yep.
they finished the live stream. Okay.
So,
Yeah, the
Well,
fanboys are going nuts on Twitter. Or
Yeah.
X.
Well, that's what they're supposed to do. So I guess the only I would say there were almost no surprises. The only thing that we didn't quite know about ahead of time was that people mover thing.
Did the bus thing.
He called it the
The Robovan.
Robovan.
Yeah, he was trying to say Robovan but talking like not a person.
wait, Robovin.
Robovin. Yeah, that's
put
right.
the-
It was Robovin.
He put the
Yes.
emphasis on the
The
second
syllable on the
Yeah.
wrong. Yeah.
The Robovin.
If you speak incorrectly and put the syllable on the Robovin, you get
Yeah.
a Tesla van.
The
There you
Robovin.
go.
I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's not really, it doesn't invoke excitement to me. It just, it looks like, something some kid in the 80s would draw.
Here's the thing. I would be more excited if they made a real damn van. Just make an actual van
Oh,
with a
yeah.
steering wheel and
Yeah.
that people could use. I get it. Minivans are not all the rage anymore, but like cities need vans, bus lines exist. Doug, earlier you said something about like an airport like shuttle.
Yeah.
Like that's a useful thing. Rivian makes a bunch of money doing like the trucks and stuff for Amazon. Like there is value in other types of vehicles. I know I don't know. They don't want to split their engineering efforts and production and yada yada yada, but like just banking on, it's a thing that has no steering wheel and we hope that we'll have the technology developed in 3 years. I don't know. Seems kind of silly, but whatever. He's a visionary and much richer than me. So who am I to judge?
Yeah, I mean, really, as a car company, yeah, I think they. I mean, this is all good stuff, but yeah, let's get the products that are make sense for people that they could be selling now. Yeah, a basically a Sprinter van
Exactly.
would be so useful.
The
And
doors make no sense. They should not have done that, but whatever. That's 100% Elon. That was an Elon insistence. That was not an engineer saying that. I want to know where the damn cameras are. Please tell me you have a camera on the
on the
front
nose,
bumper.
there definitely is one. There has to be. But yeah, see, that's what I would have wanted to see. Okay, Elon said a lot of stuff that we'd already heard before. We didn't get a nice, good, and it's at night too. I want a nice sort of daylight walk around this thing.
Yeah.
Show me where all the cameras are. Um, yeah, that's mainly it, right? There's almost nothing else, right? If there's no steering wheel and there are no pedals, I want to know where all the cameras are, and I want to know what kind of amenities they have inside the car. Now, was it actually only a two-seater, or was it like a four-seater type thing? It was
It
a
looked. I
two-door.
only saw 2-seater, but it probably was 4. I imagine there was. Yeah, it was
Like
only
a,
2-door, but I think there was a back seat.
so like
But
a coupe sort of thing where you flip the seat forward a little bit and get in, back in the day, right? I mean, that's what I would guess. There seemed space for four, but also the rake of the rear
the
of
slope
the
of the
thing.
rear, yeah.
It looked a little severe, so maybe nobody can fit back there.
For kids. I think
Uh,
I forget who it was. Somebody in chat earlier said, oh yeah, you just 2 people in your family, then you
let's see.
can.
This is our best view right here, I think.
I think
It's hard to
I
tell.
think there was a space in between the front 2 seats. Yeah, there was a space, but that doesn't mean you can. Oh, that's tight. I think that's a 2-seater.
Yeah.
That looks 2-seater to me.
Yeah, maybe it's just a two-seater. Yeah, those doors don't make any sense.
No.
Because or if anything, they could have had them rotate vertically.
Yes.
So
Yes.
already it's not like you put anything in the door pocket, because if it's flipping up like that, you can't use
Correct.
any door pocket. So if they could have just had it just sort
Just
of
rotate up.
rotate up 90 degrees,
That would have
so it's
made more
not
sense.
taking any side space, and then people can get in.
But that would be more difficult, slightly more difficult and expensive
engineer.
in engineering.
Yeah.
This is literally just a single hinge that it just pops
at a weird
out.
angle. Yeah.
But honestly though, they haven't made more than a couple of these, and these are not in production. So I'm sure when they go to make these for real, there will be change, as we've seen with every car, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Cybertruck does not look like the original Cybertruck was showcased, and etc.
It does
So
pretty much. It's just a little smaller.
yeah, I feel like the angle on the front's different too, but yeah.
I mean, I would say more than any other car company, Tesla, when they do a show car, when you first see it, I don't like not much changes. For the Model S, the first Model S we saw in 2009, that probably had the most change, but that was also the most fake car. I mean, that wasn't a real
Didn't
car.
exist. Yeah.
Yeah. It was just like a rebodied something else. So,
Right.
So the interior changed in quite a bit. The exterior didn't change that much. But the Model 3 pretty much looked like what we saw, X, Y. To me, the Cybertruck looks pretty much exactly like what they showed it. It just downsized it a little bit to,
Sure.
fit on the roads a bit better. But so I wouldn't be surprised if this is just exactly what we've seen. I mean, we saw this thing. We saw it in the Isaacson book,
Sure.
months ago, and it didn't look any different than that. So maybe they're not going to change too much. I don't know.
That's fair.
Well, that was entertaining.
Yeah, that was interesting. So again, as always, we appreciate everyone hanging out with us. Thanks for joining the stream. Thanks for listening. You can go to teslamotorsclub.com, hang out with us there, chat it up, become a supporting member on the forums is always helpful to keep the podcast going. Keep messages coming, keep chat coming. We love the love, we love the hate. It's okay. We don't mind debate. There's some fangirls on the screen for you, Tesla fangirls. As always, thanks to our producers. Thank you, Doug, of course, and Danny. And yeah, those of us at TMC will see you next time. This was episode 69. That doesn't come again. That's not what I meant, Doug. Stop laughing. All right. Episode 69 is done. We'll wrap it up now.
All right.
There's too many puns that are inappropriate. So see you next time.